Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be working on the MX-5 donor car, the Phoenix. Need to sort out an engine code problem. I bought the car as a donor, so it's going to be stripped down. It's going to be used in a Haynes Roadster project, but I want to get rid of all the problems that the car's got before I start stripping it, so I know that I've got a good working car. Now the car came with a coolant leak, which I've yet to solve, but the engine runs. The owner said just needed to top it up occasionally. Could be something serious, could be something simple, but I'll look into that. But today's fault, we're going to be looking at the engine management, because I've had a code pop up and it's been sitting for a long while, so I'm guessing that might have something to do with it. So let's crack on. To look at the engine management problems, I'm going to be using this cheap little obd2 reader and the Torque Lite program. So let's get it booted up and see if we can find out what the problem is. So we've got the Torque Lite program up. So what I'm going to do now, I've already paired it to the car. I'm just going to bring up the fault codes. So we'll show logged faults first. So it's going in there now, trying to figure out what's up. So we've got a code of P0031. Okay. So we'll come out of there again. So we're just going to go back in again. Fault codes again. Show pending faults just to see if there's any faults there. So no pending faults, so we've just got one fault. So we can always try the quick thing. There's clear logged faults. Okay, so clearing logged faults on there. Engine light's gone off on the dash, so we know that's actually working. So what we'll do now is just go back in again, show logged faults, see if anything comes back up again. No faults, right. So go in fault codes again and let's see if there's any pending faults, to see if there's anything actually just sitting there waiting to come up. So there it is again, P0031. So even though we've lost the engine light, it's still telling us, and I'm just giving it a bit of blip to see if I can regenerate the engine light, it's still telling us that we've got a fault there. So I'm just going to turn the engine off, bring the engine back up. Again, nothing, no, the engine lights, now we've got an engine light back on the dash again. So it just shows that the fault code's still in. So now let's have a look at show logged faults. Just like to point out, the engine is up to operating temperature at the moment, so everything should be working. So it's P0031 again. So let's go in there and let's see if we can have a look at some live data. I've looked it up and it's come up as an oxygen sensor heating low. So looking at it, it's the pre-CAT oxygen sensor that's showing a low heater voltage on that side. So what I've done is I've brought up a graph just to see what the actual lambda sensor's doing. Now I'll give the vehicle a bit of a rev, and as we can see, it's moving up and down absolutely fine, it's working fine. So that's it working up to temperature. So let's actually have a look at the oxygen sensor and see what's up with it on that side. Okay, so I've located the oxygen sensor. The way I found it was I followed the oxygen sensor wire from the front oxygen all the way up, and I've located it to this connector. Now, going online, I've ascertained that the wires that I need to be looking at are the two black wires. The blue and white are the signal wires. We know that's good because we've seen that inside the car getting a good signal. And what it's saying is that my heated side of the element is not working, so that's these two wires here. So first things first, I'm going to disconnect it and I'm going to check I've got voltage. Now I've just set my multimeter up for a second. I'm just going to attach it to the engine to give myself a good earth point. Just going to check, put it on so it makes a little bit of a noise. There we are, so it's telling us now that we've got a good earth contact. So what I'm now going to do now is switch it to voltage. And I'm just going to probe these two on the left. So we'll just have a look. Nothing, which is good. We did not want to find a voltage there. Could mean that it's on all the time. So first of all I've done at the moment is just connected it up to the top connector, so it's just sitting there. Okay, so I've just switched the ignition on, and we are now getting 12.43 volts through there. So we know we've got a good feed, so we know we've got the power. So the next thing I could do is just check to see if we've got earth going through the ECU, but as I know we're getting power now, my next port call is I'm just going to give this a test to see what this is actually doing. Okay, so we now know that we're getting 12 volt voltage down to the plug, so what I want to do now is just check to see what we're actually getting out of the connector. So what I've done now is I've disconnected the connector just to give myself a bit more room so I can actually look at it. The two wires we actually want to concentrate on, the two black wires, because the blue and white are the signal wires. Now we checked that with the obd2 reader and it was showing that we were getting a signal from this. Mind you, the engine has been heated up, it has been warmed up to ensure that we've got good operating temperature. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some back probes into here, just because my meter probes cannot fit in there. So we've got those in now, and what we're going to do now is just connect it up, make sure they're not touching so that we've got them connected. So now I've put my ohm meter to ohms reading, and what we should be reading, excuse my camera work, see if I can get this in focus, we should be reading 15.7, but we've got absolutely nothing. It's showing open circuit, so somewhere in there there's a break in that circuit and it's not working well. What I want to do now is, we've tested this and it's showing no continuity. I want to just make sure that my back probes are actually making contact with the circuit. So now what I've used is a lead that actually puts a spike into the wire. It's not necessarily something you want to do straight away, because straight away I've now opened up the insulation, and if this is not the problem, it's now caused an opening that corrosion can get into if we reuse this. So now what I'm going to do is just run the tester, and as you can see from the audible note of the tester, it's telling me that that back probe has made a circuit. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the bottom wire. Swap my lead over just to make sure that we've got a circuit, and we have. So we know those back probes are working fine. So we've eliminated that the back probes are causing a problem. They are actually working. We need to have a test from the wires just coming out of the lambda sensor to here to make sure we haven't got a break in these wires. If we've not got a break in the wires, what we have determined is that oxygen sensor has now gone wrong. It's gone open circuit, so the heating element has actually burnt out. Nothing we can do other than replacing the sensor. So first of all, let's get this all stripped down. What we want to do now is we're going to test the wiring between here and here to make sure there isn't a break in the heater wiring, and that's causing our problems. So we'll take a connector out, back probe it in, connect our wire up to here. Now, what I'm about to do does damage the wires, and it causes a point for it to go open for corrosion. So we put that in there now, turn the meter on, make sure it's on an audible noise because we just want to be able to look at it. Gently touch the back of this. There we are. That was a bit of luck, choosing the right wire first time. So take that off a second. Just put this second wire in. So, leaking a bit. And what we're going to do, we'll swap it over the second black wire here. plug it in, connect it up, put the wire back in, and again we can touch it up here if we want to do. Oh, come on. There we are. So what that's telling us, there isn't a break between here and the connector, so we haven't got any wiring issues. The actual issue is with the sensor. The heating element in the sensor's gone open circuit, it's burnt through. It's obviously gone through enough heat cycles that it's finally burnt out, just like a light bulb will. So what I actually need now is a new sensor. Now I'm not going to fit a new sensor to this because this engine's going in the Haynes Roadster and it's going to have a wideband oxygen sensor, so this sensor is actually no use to me anyway. So if I was this was actually going back on the road, this car, what I would need to do is just replace this sensor, screw it back in there, plug it back in, go back into the vehicle and clear the codes. That's that problem sorted. Turns out it's the oxygen sensor's heating element that's gone wrong. As I say, we won't be replacing that one because when it comes to the build I'll be putting in a wideband oxygen sensor. That's one more problem ticked off the list though. Only a couple more to go and then we can start stripping the vehicle down, ready to get it put into the new chassis. Well, still got to build the chassis. So, till next time, thank you for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Think about subscribing if you want to catch any more videos. Till next time, see you later.